Hi everybody, this is Bing Futch. Welcome to Patreon. Patreon is a subscription service that connects artists with their supporters in a unique, exciting, and fun way. Now, I'm just one of over 50,000 creators on the service, and every month there's over 1 million active patrons. My patrons all receive unlimited access to an extensive back catalog of books, CDs, videos, music tablature, and educational resources. Plus, I produce and share exclusive new content each and every week. This includes Dulcimerica and Dulcimerica Deluxe, Mailbag Monday, Patreon Moments, In Studio with Bing Futch, The Drone Zone, Tour Eats, Coaster to Coaster, and Disney Overload. I also share full-length concerts, backstage video, and workshops for mountain dulcimer, ukulele, Native American flute, songwriting, and general music theory. Think of it as Netflix for my music and video, or Disney Plus if you're so inclined. The best part is you get all of this at the Pearl level for just $5 a month. That's less than the cost of a caramel macchiato at Starbucks, which is really tasty too. Now, if you subscribe at one of the other levels, there are extra rewards and perks available, like stickers, monthly EPs, discounts, t-shirts, private lessons, home-cooked meals, house concerts, music coaching, and even a day at Walt Disney World with me as your personal tour guide. Lots of fun. If you'd like to sample some of what I release on a weekly basis, please visit this link down here to go check out my Patreon open house. There are over 5 years of downloads there for you to enjoy. And if you like what you see in here, please do consider becoming a part of my art as a patron. This truly is one of the most incredible things I have ever been involved with, and I'm very deeply grateful to every single one of my patrons who's there for me as a part of my art every single day. Thank you guys so much, and thank you for visiting. Blessings of music to you all. We'll see you soon. Groovalicious, everybody. We're having some fun with a series on different feels in music, and we're going to wrap things up this week with a closer look at syncopation here on Dulcimerica. Thank you for joining me. My name is Bing Futch. So let's go back over a few basic things. First of all, we know that every piece of music has a time signature that sets the rules of that particular tune. The top number is how many beats are in every measure, and the bottom number is what gets that beat. 4 stands for the quarter note, 8 stands for the eighth note, and so forth and so on. So a piece of music doesn't necessarily have just one rhythm, which is a collection of these note durations, whole notes, half notes, quarter notes, eighth notes, 16th notes, that we can combine a number of different rhythms, and what we end up with is a meter. And a meter is the overall feel, vibe, or groove of a particular piece of music. And that meter is based on this sensation of the strong beats and the weak beats. And we can really listen to a rhythm and get an idea of what its meter is based on these strong beats and these weak beats. So when we put these different rhythms together, what we end up with is these note durations that can be altered in many different ways, in 3 different basic ways. 1, we can use it at face value. 2, we can stretch it out, add a dot or tie it to another note. And 3, we can shorten it. We can cut it in half and we can make it shorter. And so inside of a measure of music, especially say 4/4 time, where it's always going to be 4 beats, when we begin to stretch notes out, shorten notes, and do other things, that's where we start getting all of these different feels. Remember, if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, we can make each one of those strong beats. Well, we can go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and now I'm putting emphasis. The strong beats are on the 1, 2, 3, 4, and the weak beats are the ands that come in between them. But we could also accent them as 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. And that's an example of syncopation. We're putting emphasis on the after beats, and a lot of people do that when they're playing chops. It takes the emphasis from the strong beat and places it onto the weak beat, and that's what we're looking at today. During our first week, we looked at very square rhythms. 2/4 time, 4/4 time, very direct on the beat. We also worked on the swing rhythm that elongated a pair of 8 notes. The first in the pair got lengthened by adding a dot, and the second note in the pair of 8 notes got shortened. It became a 16th note because, once again, we're dealing with a finite number of beats in the measure. If you add to one note, you're going to be taking away from another note, and that changes, here it is, the feel of that particular measure. And we can do that all throughout the tune. So we had our shuffle or swing rhythm with the dotted 8 and 16th note combination. As opposed to playing it straight. We also looked at a way of getting a circular feel by working with 3/4 time, 3/4 time, 6/8 time, 9/8 time, and 12/8 time. Divisible by 3 time signatures give you this nice circular sort of a feel. But now we're going to be talking more about syncopation and putting emphasis on those weak beats to get a different thing going altogether. One of the earliest bits of syncopation I remember hearing was from one of the great masters himself, Ludwig van Beethoven, a theme called Ode to Joy. You've heard it a bunch of times. Beethoven sets us all up for the expectation that everything's going to be landing squarely on these numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that little bit at the end is not very square. It kind of rolls around a little bit. And the reason for that is what we have is instead of these straight quarter notes, we have a dotted quarter note. So we have elongated that quarter note to hang out just a little while longer. But we have to steal from something else, and that's the next note. Instead of it being a quarter note, it becomes an 8th note. So we hit it very quickly, and then we have a half note to round out the measure of 4. So you can hear the subdivisions in there. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So right there he uses a little bit of syncopation to change up that very straight feeling of the rest of that melody. But he then pulls something very, very interesting after the theme takes a bit of a turn and then comes back again. He uses what's called a push rhythm, which takes the downbeat of the tune, of the melody, and moves it forward a little bit earlier in the music. So it could be on the and of the 4th beat. It could even come in on the 4th beat. It might even come in as early as the 3rd or 2nd beat. In this case, Beethoven comes in on the 4th beat with the beginning of the melody and then ties it to another quarter note on the downbeat. And it sounds really cool, like something weird out of place just happened. As a matter of fact, if you've been listening to something that's straight 4, it is very out of place. That note that we've been expecting to come landing once again on the downbeat comes in a beat early and hangs out for 2 beats as opposed to 1, and it just changes the rhythm ever so much for that one moment, and then he goes right back into playing it the way it was before. Very, very cool stuff. So we can bring in our downbeat early. Another thing we can do is we can delay our downbeat, and instead of landing on the 1, we can land on the and of 1 or on beat number 2. Put a rest first and then come in. And this syncopation is heard an awful lot in West Indies music, Caribbean music, that has that to and fro, sway, give and take sort of a vibe going on there. We're shifting our attention from the strong beats to the weak beats. Good example of that is Everybody Loves Saturday Night. The whole song is very swishy sway, but you'll hear how I'll count 1 and then come in with the basic chorus part, not the chorus, but maybe a refrain, if you will. That's fun, isn't it? It just makes you want to dance. So, mixing up these rhythms in the context of a song gives you dynamics. It's not the same thing all the way through. It changes just enough, and then it remains consistent, and then it maybe does something surprising, and then more consistency. I mean, just a great recipe for songs that you want to move your body to. So let's incorporate some counting here and do something very fun. We're going to start by coming in on the and of 4 with our beat, hold it, and then we're going to continue again on the and of 1, and you can get the sense of the motion if we just kind of count through using 8-note subdivisions: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 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 and da da ba 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 ba. It's so much fun combining all of these different possibilities, and with all of the time signatures we have, with all of the things we can do to the individual notes themselves, make them longer, make them shorter, treat them at face value, blending them together with other rhythms. We can do so many things, and the one thing that's the most important, I think, about rhythms and incorporating them into tunes is that every song has its own rhythmic fingerprint that comes from the melody. How the melody moves is how the rest of the song should go, because we are there to support the melody no matter what. So when you're considering putting some rhythms in there, consider the melody first and what it's doing. And if it's moving very straight, yet you want it to go just a little off kilter, you can actually alter the rhythm of the melody to make that happen. So it's very important to realize that no matter what we do rhythmically, it needs to be lockstep and support, generally speaking, with the melody so everything meshes well together. So I hope this past 3 weeks has been helpful to you in terms of arranging pieces that you are aware of, transcribing music that you want to change up, or composing your own pieces, that you can take all of these different elements and create really wonderful dynamic arrangements. Thank you guys so much for joining me for this series. I'll do a series of one-shot episodes after this, and then I will brainstorm and think about what's going to be happening for our next series of episodes here on Dulcimerica. Thank you for watching, and thank you to my patrons. I love you guys so much, and without you, Dulcimerica would not be here for its 14th season. Thanks again. You guys are awesome. We'll see you next week.